beauty, brutality, and banality. It's Italian chaos. I'm 100 feet above the oval. That's the Piazza del Popolo in the Pinzio Gardens. Though separated from the Villa Borghese by the ancient city wall, it's still part of it. In the 4th century BC, rich Roman families built horti or mansions along its rim. The Lucellus family, where the Trinità dei Monti now stands atop the Spanish Steps, the Verminzi, directly above the Piazza del Popolo, as well as the Pinzi. The latter gave their name to the gardens designed and built by Giuseppe Vallardier in 1810 to 1818. Nero started the chaos. He burnt Rome in 64 AD to build his Domus Aurea. He committed suicide in 68 AD, and his body was burned on the hill above the Piazza del Popolo, where I'm standing now, hatching myths and legends about ghosts. In the 900s, the hill sponsored concerts of the municipal bands. It is now Rome's famous Sunset Point. The beauty. Pope Sixtus V in 1589 erected the Egyptian obelisk in the piazza center. On the piazza's left are the twin churches of Santa Maria dei Miracoli and Santa Maria di Montesanto. They flank the beginning of the Via del Corso, Corso meaning coursing, as in horse racing. Built by Rinaldi between 1611 and 1691. He was a competitive architect of his more famous contemporaries of Bernini and Borromini. Standing on the Pinzio Garden Hill, on the right of the piazza, is the Porta del Populo, built in the 16th century. It marks the end of the Via Flaminia, connecting Roma to the Adriatic, built in 220 BC. Just on the inside of the piazza by the Porta is the Santa Maria del Popolo, built over a period of time by Bregno, Pinturicchio, Bramante, and Bernini. It houses the Chigi Chapel by Raphael, and also sculptures by Bernini, and in the Sarassi Chapel, 2 paintings by the famous or infamous Caravaggio, the Crucifixion of St. Peter and the Conversion of St. Paul, both dramatic. In the 18th and 19th centuries, the piazza was used for public executions, often as part of Carnival just before Lent. Condemned men were sometimes hammered to death by repeated blows to the temple. The last of these was in 1826. Starting in the 1400s by Pope Paul II, riderless horses start in the Piazza del Popolo and race down the 2-kilometer Via del Corso to the Piazza Venezia and the Vittoriano, encouraged by feeding them stimulants, encircling their necks with nail-studded ropes, and attaching fireworks to their heels. Italians think that's funny. Today, the piazza is mainly used for political rallies and protests. Banality. Today, a walk from the Piazza del Popolo between the twin churches down the Via del Corso, Roma's cheap street, making a right on the Via Condotti, Roma's costliest street, that leads to the Spanish Steps. Like all of Rome's central area, it's a collection of very small shops, with a number of even smaller side streets, some with very good locally patronized restaurants. Small cafes and the ubiquitous gelato spots are everywhere. Here are the gaudy and the garish, together with the cheap knockoffs. The only anomaly was the crocodile, Lacoste. Here's more Italian chaos. Italians always argue with authority figures. The Corso was under repair. Just turn around and go around. You're going to have to do it anyway. Why give yourself asita? Coursing down the Via del Corso, it was all made worthwhile to come upon this Roman beauty. Che bella! The Via Condotti, it's the woman's street. Still the small shops, but now it's the boutique and haute couture. Even the blue-rinsed dowagers are dressed to kill. One of the few bigger shops with bigger prices, displaying exquisite European, conservative, custom jewelry. But no flair, no excitement. By contrast, halfway up the street on the left-hand side, a quiet backwater, a tiny piazza with one or two exclusive boutiques, and above, outlandishly expensive condos. Yet another contrast, Tuscan pottery, not just expensive, but for me, more for display than use. The last shop before the Spanish Steps, Bulgari. I call it vulgarity. Compare the flower of the Via Condotti to the flower of the Orient. No comparison. The Spanish Steps. Why the Spanish Steps? In the 17th century, the Spanish ambassador to the Vatican had his headquarters here, with typical Spanish macho arrogance, deemed the area around it Spanish. Woe betide any male wandering into the area. The Spanish army press gang would spirit you away to serve at Spain's pleasure. By the 18th and 19th century, it became a popular center for the people on the grand tour of Europe. So hotels sprung up all around the area, the place catering to the English in particular. The Babington Tea Room still serves 1900 English fare. Atop the Pingio Hill is the Trinità dei Monti, a so-so church of no special consequence. Next to it, though, is the famous five-star Hasla Hotel, previously a Medici palace, that has been home to royalty, Europe's glitterati, and the rich and famous of the days of La Dolce Vita. It's most famous for its rooftop restaurant, overlooking all of Rome. Yo, I've been there, and what a view it is. At the bottom of the steps is an unprepossessing fountain, La Fontana della Barcaccia, useless old boat, designed either by Pietro Bernini or his famous son, Gian Lorenzo. The aqueduct that feeds the fountain is low pressure, so there are no big spurts of water. The bees and sun that decorate the fountain are taken from the coat of arms of Pope Urban VIII, who commissioned it. Here's that bloody Roman soldier again. No photos while smoking, please. Around the two sides of the piazza are leftover boutiques from the Via Condotti. Yummy, yummy. And fancy footwear. Buon appetito! They're everywhere. It's disgusting. Americans letting it all hang out. It's revolting. A bunch of obese beasts. Sanity, sanity, I have to return to normality. They're French, I think. She's a keeper. She I'd take home to Mother when Mother wasn't there. Massimo Cicciaroni and his wife Daniela bought a studio condo on the Via Lycia, a relatively quiet residential section of Roma. A 15-minute walk to San Giovanni Laterano and the subway to all parts of Roma. The downtown part of Roma is on the other side of the Vittoriano, off the map. To give you an idea, the Vatican is about a 20 to 30-minute ride on the subway from San Giovanni Laterano. I had all the shops, supermarkets, drugstores, etc. at my fingertips. The Via Lycia is a relatively quiet street, and it is lined both with shade trees and tiny stores, one of which is a pet shop with barely enough room for a dog and its owner. Parking in Roma is a constant battle. That's why most people use scooters or very small cars. More tiny stores, and right next door to the Viaggi travel agency is the entrance to my condo building, number 64. And count 'em, 9 floors up. By an elevator that sometimes has a mind of its own. Sometimes it wouldn't come up at all, other times only to the 7th or 8th floor. It's a fantastic air-conditioned studio. Morning pancetta is cooking slowly. Bacon to you. A very useful wall mat. Lots of cupboard space. A pull-out bed. I'm 6'3". For short folk, 2 bunk beds drop down from the wall. Cable TV. A small desk or table, and a short sofa. A very modern Italian bathroom behind the small sofa. An ultra-modern sink, an ultra-modern John with an environmental flushing system. Small button, small flush. For number 1, large but large flush. For number 2, Leonardo would heartily approve. Into every Italian's home, a little chaos must come. A washer-dryer, modern looking but old-fashioned, washing with hot water, not cold. The dryer is the chaos. The water outlet isn't connected to the wastewater pipe, but to an internal plastic holding tank that must be manually emptied, otherwise the dryer won't work. Surprise, surprise! The shower is modern, fit for 1. Barely. Certainly not for a sexy 2. The Italian atom bomb. The mocha macchina. Woe betide the one who forgets to open the top with a gas burner at full blast. I hear interior decorators are expensive. I just barely made it. Compassion in action. Mother and daughter going for a coffee after shopping. This is just down the street from my apartment. A wonderful surprise awaits across the way. It's Ciacciacci. That's its name, what can I tell you? It's my favorite local eatery, a Roman-style bakery, patisserie, and buffet dining. They serve breakfast, lunch, and an early dinner. Closed Sundays. Oh yeah, pig out time, big time. And you thought Italians only made cannolis and stuffed everything with terrible soup. They treated me royally there. I spoke German to Giovanni, and he translated it to the manager Maurizio and to Corinne, who we'll see in a moment. Every day different hot and cold dishes. I just pointed and asked for una porzione, and either Corinne or Giovanni brought it to my table. Service with a smile, sometimes. Actually, they were sad to see me go. The portions here are generous. It's tough to spend 60 euros, unless, of course, you have 2 half bottles of red or white Blanc and dessert. Eventually, all good things must come to an end, but the memories of the hospitality of Cecacci, and especially of mi amore and Giovanni, will be with me forever. Snapshots in time of Italians in their daily lives, starting from the view from my 9th floor studio apartment, looking up the Via Lycia to the crossroads of the Via Gallia, which leads to the Piazza Tuscolo. Hot summer days, see-through dresses are out and about, as are Romans' dogs. It's funny what you see in the summer when you haven't got your gun. Italians like to create their own chaos by rebelling against the authorities. So watch where you walk in Roma. It's scooters by the tens of thousands and smart cars by the score. The only way to get around in comfort and still find a parking space. If this is smart, then this is half smart. The siren blares for sirens. They come in all shapes and all sizes. There are those special few that would help can sit up. Or you might shoot them while they're still in season. What noise a noisy oyster most? A noisy noise, oh noise a noisy oyster most. Roma's high decibel level is an instant, constant, and continuous reminder of Italian chaos. Life at a slower pace. You thought they only existed in New York City. Wrong-o. Here is Luigi the Squeegee, hard at work, earning his few euro for the day. Livieci. Life is about convivium, coffee, and chatter. Though, if you cut off one of their arms, they'd be speechless. There's always time for a natter with your neighbor, even though the clatter of the traffic makes it nigh impossible. All Italians read a lot. They have more newspapers and magazines than you can shake a stick at. The elderly are treated kindly and with respect as they cross the street. Mamma mia! I empathize with her age and heavy load, but she really should look in a mirror before hitting the pavement. Life at a slower, even slower pace. It's that old gang of mine, Le Vieci, debating their country's football prowess, no doubt. But it's time now to be out of time in Italian dream time. It's always gelato time.